Welcome back to Movie in a Hut, where we answer the question, exactly what in the butt? I'm RJ.
And I'm Paige.
And today we are fulfilling our promise of...
Finally.
It's the end of our arc,
The day has come.
the questioning arc. It's here. We are watching Cocaine Bear.
We're finally doing it.
I like how we were so excited, but then we were like, but Scream, but Killer Clowns, but Dracula, but
like
all these other things.
Cocaine Bear looks great. Let's watch it. Oh wait, hold on. Let's watch this one and then this one. Oh, let's put it on the back burner.
Well, here's the thing. I'm gonna say this out loud. It wasn't like Cocaine Bear was gonna go anywhere on a streaming service,
Right?
It wasn't like another streaming service was like, hey, we'll pay you like $1 million, like $10 million, $100 million to give us the streaming rights to Cocaine Bear.
But it was a hit, right? From when it came out.
It's like there's a I always say like there's a difference between like a hit and then like a horror movie hit. Because horror movies have such low budgets that it doesn't take much to be a hit.
I feel like it's more a meme hit, like Babadook. You know what I mean? Like it was popular because it's like memeable.
I hope not, because one reason. As much as people were like, Babadook, it's cinema. When it came out, people were like, it was cinema. It was so good. And I watched it, I'm like, this movie fucking sucks.
I didn't watch it because I don't like the character of the Babadook. It just looks
too clowny.
Yeah, right? Like you get it. So I was like, no, I'm gonna pass on this one. I don't think I'm missing much.
I'm just like, this movie fucking blows. It's kind of like Mama.
Okay.
Remember that movie?
Okay.
Everyone's like, or honestly, let's put ourselves on blast right here. I took you to see The Lighthouse.
Oh my god, that's cinema. Like for the sake of being cinema.
I remember the movie. We were done and we were both so tired after watching the movie. We were like exhausted.
It's so true.
But we were like, we left the movie. We were like, so when did Robert Pattinson get hot? Like,
is it the mustache? Is it the black and white?
What happened?
Like,
but it's that movie where like I tried watching it again. I'm like, I can't do it. It's so long and nothing happens.
I applaud you for trying to watch that by yourself again. Like, good attempt, bro.
Or like Midsommar.
Oh yeah, ooh, that was rough.
See, I've never watched it because I've never heard one person I know say it's even mediocre. They're like, I couldn't even finish it.
I watched it just to finish it, and I was like, you know what, Florence Pugh really put her heart and soul into this, and you can tell. So I was like, you know what, out of respect, I'll watch it. But it was absolute garbage. And people are like, oh, it's like so good. There's like 50 layers of meaning to this movie. No, it's not. It's pretentious. Unlike Cocaine Bear.
Where, just like Killer Clowns from Outer Space, you can judge the book by the cover.
So we watched the trailer. I like the trailer. It was both funny and weird, and the bear looks really good for CGI. Yeah. I'm glad that they actually put the budget into it. Good job, Elizabeth Banks.
I remember when this trailer came out, because I saw it on a YouTube ad, like it was the first time I saw it, and I remember seeing it thinking, because I'm pretty sure I saw the ad like relatively close to April Fool's Day, or it was like close enough to where you could past it, and I was like, is this a joke?
Yeah, I didn't think this movie was real. I thought it was like an ad for something, or some sort of whatever stupid video movie type of thing.
And I think it's just because movies like this don't exist anymore because, I'll say it, it's not safe.
Yes.
It's not a safe movie to make.
Yes.
It can definitely just go, what the fuck? And then no one remembers it. And in today, and I think that's the one good thing with horror, and I'm happy that we're a horror podcast, because if we were like just a movie podcast, it would be like we would watch the same movie every week. Because that's kind of what we get now.
That's so true.
And it makes sense because when you have an $8 to $10 million budget and then a $300 million budget, you kind of have to do the safe options at the $300 million budget. Hence is why every movie just feels the same. Because they literally are the same. They're making all the safest choices for their stuff. And hence is why movies are not really making money right now. Because everyone's like, I've seen the movie.
Yeah. I've seen basically the premise of this. Why am I going to go spend like $20 minimum for myself to go to the theaters to watch this? You know?
When it's going to be on streaming, and quite frankly, I'm not missing anything. But with Cocaine Bear, 10 mil, which means at max with marketing, it was a 20 mil movie. It's not going to take a whole lot to make it back. It can be ridiculous. It can take a chance because there's not much risk.
Yeah, but you know what's insane too? The cast in this movie
makes no sense.
I love it. I love that they signed on for this. I mean, we have the late great Ray Liotta. We have Kerry Russell. I don't think Elizabeth Banks pops into this, but she is producing and directing it, which is also really cool. But that's probably what she was like, hey guys, this is going to be crazy. Do you want to do this? And they're like, yeah, of course. Have a good time.
So I'm just going to say something. Kerry Russell is that person that ever since I was like a child, you see her and you're like, yeah, she's famous. And you're like, what is she famous for? And I'm like, I don't know. I just know she's famous. And that's how I've always felt with Kerry Russell.
That's fair. I know. I mean, I haven't finished it, but I know it's really, really good. The Americans with her in it, the TV show.
Oh, she's in The Americans?
Oh, God, yeah. Yeah, she's one of the main characters. And she blows, everything she's in, she blows out of the park. She's really, really good.
She also, win Dancing with the Stars.
I have no idea.
And they were like, wow, she's a really good dancer. And I'm like, yeah, that probably kind of checks. But she's been around for a while.
Oh, yeah.
Hasn't she?
Yeah.
I could have seen her being a big deal in, the 80s or 90s as,
I don't know. I don't know about that.
She could have been Kristen Stewart in that Pepsi commercial.
Oh, my God.
For the Super Bowl. She could have fulfilled that role in the 90s where she was just like, I'm the thing that sells Pepsi.
But I am excited to watch this movie. It's going to be definitely a ride. So, do you want to get into it?
I'm hoping we can make this a three-peat of fun episodes after the shit that was Hellraiser.
Yes, I agree. We need a revamp after that.
We need a reboot.
Please.
We need a full-ass reboot. All right. Well, we will be back. And later, we'll answer the question. Bye.
Okay, bye.
All right, we watched the movie. It was probably the easiest 95 minutes I've had in a while watching a movie.
Yeah, I agree. There was some slow bits, but even then it was more just kind of like a regular ebb and flow of a movie. Yeah. It wasn't, I wasn't bored as shit or anything like that. But yeah, a lot of characters and they had a lot of screen time. It wasn't just
a lot of death.
Oh yeah.
So much death.
Yeah.
The best way I could put this movie is we were 5 minutes in and people were dying.
We were very surprised.
This movie, I think I noted it. This movie, if it was a slasher, would have been fucking scary.
Oh, yeah.
But the bear just made it so ridiculous.
Of course.
All right. Let's start this movie. It's based on a true story.
How loosely based? Probably loosely based, but that's fine. We're going to roll with it.
All honesty, after this episode's after we're done recording and I have to go pick up some paints and stuff, I'm probably gonna come back with some food and watch a documentary on how based this is, because I was just like, you know what, I'm officially interested in this event now. And they have a documentary on Peacock about the quote-unquote true events of Cocaine Bear. If I had to guess, it's probably there was a bear. I think the whole cocaine bit was real. They were throwing it off of a plane. Mm-hmm. And it ended up in a national park forest. That sounds accurate.
Yeah.
The bear getting it, that also sounds accurate. I could see an animal getting into that. But the bear going around killing people is probably where it gets false, and they're probably and the bear died of an OD.
Yeah, something to that effect, yeah.
Either way, we start with cocaine plane.
Yes.
And you were able to detect that the guy in the cocaine plane was Kerry Russell's co-star from...
The Americans.
Yes.
Yes. I was like, this guy looks really familiar. And I know they do a lot of disguises and stuff in that show. And I believe the show takes place... Oh, God. In between the 60s and the 80s. Like, that type of time frame. So him with the mustache on, I was like, he looks familiar. And it was. I can't think of his name, but that was pretty cool. I feel like
this was the sequel to The Americans.
Yeah, right? I feel like Elizabeth Banks binge watched The Americans during the pandemic and was like, you know what? I want Kerry Russell and her guy in this Cocaine Bear movie. Let's see if I can get him.
And then we start with what I was actually shocked was actually in the movie was an opening kill.
Yeah.
Because usually I'll say it's kind of a Scream thing. Now, like the opening kill is a Scream thing. Usually just the movie starts. And we get a dude from Game of Thrones. I'm not the biggest Game of Thrones fan, so I don't know where he's from. You were the one who was able to detect that.
Yeah, he's the northern tribesman with the orange hair and the really big orange beard, and he's in love with Gwendolyn Christie's character. Do not ask me his name. I have no idea. I just recognized him, and yeah, that was him. He looked ridiculous. It was hilarious.
God, when his fiance kissed him, I'm like, that's so much hair in
so
like
much
one
beard.
area. It's like long hair, long beard, long eyebrows. It's just like hair.
A lot going on.
So much of it. Either way, they go on a little adventure, and they're like, let's name our baby Texas.
And they both sound like they're from like Sweden or something like that.
I couldn't detect. I was like, that sounds Swedish, but not Swedish. That sounds German, but not German.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell what it was.
Mm-hmm.
Either way, they end up going and they find a bear, and the bear is just rubbing up against that tree.
I'm guessing it already got in contact with the cocaine at that point.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. And then it just goes full ham, sees them taking pictures of it, and just goes crazy on them.
I do think the best part was you were like, okay, when's the bear going to disappear? Like, when's the bear... I thought they were going to put the camera back up and the bear was going to be running towards them, and then that would have been the thing. And it was like, oh, no, the bear's gone.
Yeah.
And death. We lose the wife, and we believe that we lose the husband, but he comes back later.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, I just want to note one thing. I noted at the beginning of this movie, I really don't like this whole new Universal opening sequence. How you noted, like, it just starts with the movie soundtrack. I hate it.
Mm-hmm.
I hate it. It's not iconic. I'm just like, oh, look, Universal. Ooh. Do you think Halloween Horror Nights can have a Cocaine Bear house?
Oh, that would be great, wouldn't it?
I want it.
That would be so silly.
I will buy a ticket. I will go for the price of admission. All the other houses can suck. And I'd be like, I'm here for Cocaine Bear. I'm here for weird Cocaine Bear animatronics coming at me. And then we get what I would just call a character introduction.
Yeah, classic character introduction for sure.
We get our cop. Psst, plural, because technically there's a secondary cop that really is the definition of a secondary character. We have our drug dealers. We have our kids and Kerry Russell. Quite literally, you could have just said, she's Kerry Russell, and I would have been like, yeah.
That's Kerry Russell. Like, just name her character Kerry, and it would be like,
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
And the forest rangers.
Yeah, the forest ranger, and then, like, he's like a, like, environmental enthusiast person.
I thought, when we were watching it, what I thought, like, when she was like, oh, yeah, he's, like, this person that comes and, like, checks and stuff, I'm like, is he, like, back when I worked at GameStop a long time ago, like, when we had, like, those Nintendo representatives that would come and, like, give you the Nintendo marketing and be like, oh, let me set up the new demos for you. In my head, I was like, is he that guy?
It feels like it. Something of that extent, yeah.
Is he just like, let me give you the newest Smokey the Bear cardboard
Poster.
cutout? Oh, and technically there is a third group, but they're very easy to forget. They're kind of like the ruffians of the
teenagers.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I do have a note here. It says Paige is Carrie Russell.
Thank you so much. That is like beyond the best compliment I've ever gotten in my life.
There was one scene where I was like, "This, I don't have to know this happened to you one night after work to like know it's happened." Where she gets out of the shower, she lays in bed, she's just getting comfortable, and then something ruins all of the concentration.
That's so true.
It forces you to get up, like you have to actually get up. And I know that happens at bare minimum 2 to 3 times a week.
You know me so well. Also, Carrie Russell's Georgian accent is spot fucking on. I was so impressed. It wasn't just a regular, like, generic Southern accent. 100% Georgian.
It's weird because I know for you it's probably easier to detect.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it sounds like a normal accent because I lived in Georgia for 5 years. I lived in Savannah. So for me, it's like, oh yeah, just sounds like a normal voice I've heard for like 5 years of my life. And then towards the end of the movie, I'm like, oh wait, she's not from Georgia. You are right. Because
Yeah,
even my head, the one who's lived in Georgia, never thought twice.
Yeah, she did a
the
really, really
accent.
good job.
Basically, oh, well, I did skip one bit. My bad. We get a nice little documentary, like, cut in that leads us into the movie.
Yeah.
And our guy who was, on the cocaine plane died.
From, jumping out of the plane and, well, he knocked himself out.
Yeah.
When he was jumping out of the plane, and then he just plummeted to his death. So in someone's
They said
driveway,
that his parachute did not
deploy.
go, and I'm like, dude knocked himself out on cocaine. Let's be honest here. From here on out, everything is get to the forest. That's it. Every character has to get to the forest.
Basically, that's probably the first act of the whole movie.
Yeah.
The girl runs away with her friend to go paint on the waterfall, so Carrie has to go after the kids. We have the drug dealers are trying to get into they go to the forest to get the drugs that were dropped from the plane. We have the teenagers that are goofing off, and then the park ranger
who's just a park ranger
is doing her job.
And then we have a cocaine bear who just calls this place home.
Right, yes.
And at this point, actually, I do know that we get the cop from Tennessee coming to Georgia. Like, he's noted that he's going to come here.
Yes, because
we get the whole bit with the dog.
Yeah.
That ugly-ass Shih Tzu.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but, like, I've never, ever thought Shih Tzu was, like, an appealing breed of dog.
Nah. They're always mean, too.
They are, and I'm like, because they're showing the dog like so sweet and innocent. I'm like, that thing's gonna fucking nip at your fingers when you look away. These things are fucking devils.
But what happens first? What's the chain of events that happen first?
So we start with, and by the way, Carrie's on her way to the forest as this stuff is going on. She already knows that the kids skip school. The kids meet the bear because they find the cocaine. That's where we start.
Right.
That's our inciting incident. The kids get there. They're like eating food. I'm like, I hate these kids. They're so annoying. And then one of them finds cocaine, and then they both do cocaine. I'm like, and they're like, I don't know, a tablespoon. I'm like, no, you're gonna die.
It was a very large amount for an adult human, let alone a child, that they both did. Just like I would say probably about an inch on top of the pocket knife worth of cocaine.
And the pocket knife was fully covered in cocaine. It wasn't like a pea area that went up an inch. It was an inch all around.
It was a mountain.
She does it. He does it. It's disgusting and nasty. And then Cocaine Bear.
Yes.
Well, first, Cocaine Bear steals the carrots and the celery.
It tries the healthy option first.
It does. Here's the thing. If it's in a bag, it'll try it.
Good point.
That's what we learned. As long as there's a bag, why not? The cocaine bear goes cray-cray. But doesn't kill them. It doesn't
No.
kill. The boy disappears relatively quickly.
Yes. He obviously books it up a tree and is staying there until we see him later with Carrie. And the little girl is either taken or runs to the cave that has, spoiler alert, the 2 baby cubs. So she's chilling in there.
I do remember that the girl's name was Dee Dee because for some reason, every time someone said Dee Dee, I went back to Dexter's Laboratory.
Me too.
I was like, all I heard in the head
Every
was how he
time.
would say Dee Dee.
Every time.
So, that's going on. After this happens, we cut to the Forest Rangers.
Yes.
And I don't like the characters of the Forest Rangers.
Me
I was so
neither.
happy they kind of died off quick.
Me too. Basically, the Forest Ranger lady is trying to romance the eco dude. It's stupid. I don't like it. One of the teenagers comes in to steal some candy and shit. That's it. Carrie Russell comes in and is like, "Oh, my daughter, have you seen a little teenage girl?" And they're like, "No." And she's like, "Okay, well, you guys are going up the mountain. I'm tagging along." And that's pretty much it.
By the way, at this point, let's just note, Carrie Russell has a adorable pink,
The tracksuit.
yes. The
Oh my
tracksuit.
god, I love it with the sneakers and everything. The whole get
Yes.
up, her whole look is fabulous. I love it.
You knew it was 1986 by her hair. Her
Yes.
hair screamed Hairspray.
Yes, it was fantastic. I loved it. The music was also really good in this movie.
It was. Her hair screams a bottle a day keeps those dead ends away. That's how we do it. So they go, and I like that this was a plot point in the movie. Like, they always were very, they meant to show you which path these people took.
Yes.
Like, left or right, because the movie tells you really quick, left is longer, right is quicker.
Yes.
So they go right because Carrie's like, I don't care about the fucking scenic view. I just want to find my child.
Yeah.
We're going right. And the Forest Rangers are like, oh, she's ruining everything. Which I'm sure.
Yeah,
sure.
okay.
I wanted to watch the sunset. And I'm like, remember happened, how the last time I did that, I ended up getting like weird ass bug bites that stayed for like 2 months.
Like it's just very uncomfortable. I know that's the whole point where the lady ranger is like romancing the eco guy, and it's just I want it over and done with. And so, like you said, I'm so happy that they die. Well, or at least leave the scene fairly quickly.
So they go to the right. As they go right, our drug dealers arrive at the park.
Yes.
And they go, well, it falls. One of them goes to the bathroom.
Yeah. Yes. Is it Ice Cube's son?
Yes,
David is the name of the
David.
character.
correct. And we see they had a name. The 3 boys had a name.
So
And-
the one that we are with most of the movie is Stash.
Yes, but like the group had a name.
Oh.
Like the Forest Ranger was like, oh, it's these
Yeah.
groups called.
It's like the Dewbergs or something. It's something stupid.
Because it was like, oh, they'll pop up. So I know
Yeah.
like pop was in the name. I just forgot where it was.
Yeah.
Either way, we get a bathroom fight scene.
Yes.
And it is so. It's so weird to watch because you can tell none of these hits are connecting.
Yeah.
It's so like light.
But also, they're really stupid for like fucking with this guy.
I know.
Like, come on.
I'm like, you can tell they didn't have crash pads. So they were like, listen, when you throw him very gently.
Yes.
So he kind of throws himself and then he can kind of just gently hit the wall.
But basically, Ice Cube's son gets stabbed in the shoulder.
By one of
them. We don't know who. And he wakes one of them up. It's like, hey, where'd you get this, bag? Or I think they had one bag of cocaine.
they had one thing of cocaine.
Yeah, and so he's like, okay, lead me to it, and that's how we get them to go this
To the
group,
left.
this tiny group. Yes, to the left, the longer route to go
The
to
left
the bag.
is David, the guy who looks like 3 other actors in one body,
Which I
and
found
Han
out.
Solo.
Yes, I found out he plays Han Solo in the Han Solo movie.
Oh no, the one that looks like 3 other actors is the one that like has the blonde hair.
Oh, yes, the one that looks like Dax Shepard to me.
Yes.
Yes.
And then Han Solo's here as well.
Yeah, they go off because the kid says that the cocaine bag is in the gazebo.
At a
They stuck it-
gazebo.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I like how half of this movie is getting to the goddamn gazebo.
Basically.
I will say, I do feel like this movie probably didn't... Because I looked how much this movie cost. It cost around 30 mil to make. 30 to 35.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like most of that had to be VFX and getting certain actors because they filmed only in a forest.
Yeah. Yeah. But I think the money was well spent. I think that for sure. If it was mostly
yeah.
cast and visual effects, very, very well done.
I would say that I think there was only one scene in this movie where I thought the bear looked genuinely bad in a scene, and it was later on when he passes out,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then like, there's like this scene where he like kind of, it's the one where he's scooting on the floor, and they have the mulch moving, and like something about it just looks off.
Mm-hmm.
That was the one I remember being like, eh.
But other than that, it was good.
Other than that, it was fine. Yeah. Trio goes left. Oh, here's my next note. Tree hijinks ensue.
Basically.
Something stinks.
The ranger, the eco guy, Henry, and Carrie Russell, right? That's where we are now?
Henry Carey Russell.
Where the bear comes?
Yeah. And the kid's dead.
Yeah, Henry.
And yeah, I mean, it's a death scene.
It's pretty brutal. It's pretty
The
brutal.
beginning isn't, but it ends brutal.
Yeah, I mean, he's
It ends
alive
brutal.
the entire time he's being attacked, so...
Yeah, so
that's
that's
pretty
actually like
bad.
it ends brutal. It begins very boring.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't want to be in that position, that's for sure.
No, it was just more like I think it was because I really didn't like the 2 characters that this scene focused on.
Yeah, and so we don't
And
give a
not
shit.
in a like, oh, well, you're not supposed to like them. Like, I just didn't want them to be in the movie.
Same.
And I think it's mainly because I don't like the guy who played the eco guy. Like, I'm not a big fan of him as an actor.
Me neither.
And her, I guess her was more character. I
You're
didn't
not
like the
supposed to
character.
like her character, so she did a good job.
I just think them together was insufferable.
She gets a really bad... The bear attacks her, the park ranger, gets a really bad gash in her butt.
Yeah, bit her ass.
Then the bear goes after the kid up in the tree, but then once it smells the cocaine that the eco guy fell into, it goes for him and like absolutely tears him to shreds and up in the tree. It was pretty bad.
Yeah. Eats the leg.
Yeah.
Or bites the leg
Yeah,
off?
bites it off, basically.
And then he falls on his neck, and then the leg falls like 4 seconds after.
Yeah.
And then the best way I can put like every post-death scene in this movie is the bear cuddles with the body.
For the cocaine.
For the
is
cocaine.
Is this where it takes a hit off of his leg?
Yes. Literally. It takes a hit off his body, and then it takes a hit off his leg. As this is going on, we're still going to the gazebo.
Oh, yes. Playing 20 questions.
Oh, God, I hate that game. And then as this happens, our cop arrives at the park, and he does the smart thing and turns right.
Yes, he takes the short route to the gazebo.
Which you learn relatively quickly. The short path is a lot shorter.
Oh,
It is
yeah.
a lot shorter.
Yeah.
And then we get more hijinks, but this time we're at the ranger station.
Oh my god. Okay. So the ranger, I'm going to say what I remember. The ranger lady, it's not like we just watched this 2 seconds ago. The ranger lady hobbles back to get help. But the two kids are there, the two teenagers, one with a concussion, and then the other guy's just kind of fucked up from the fight. And she's like, call an ambulance. I already did. Okay, ambulance is on the way. Then there's like a knock or something. They know there's something at the door. And the kids think it's David. And the ranger thinks it's the bear. And she's like, okay, get against the door. You're going to open it when I say it. I'm going to shoot him. She's like, I'm going to shoot him? And yeah, that's basically it. And then bad shit happens.
They open the door, and the bear is just enjoying life.
Just chilling. Just sitting there.
He's panting. Or she's panting.
Yes.
She's panting. Sorry. She's just panting. And then the forest ranger has this habit of when she shoots the gun, she doesn't look.
Yes,
where
she closes her eyes every single time. She almost shot the eco guy.
Almost shot Carrie.
Yeah, almost shot Carrie. And now we're here.
And now she blows the... He's not the one with the concussion. He's the one that's got fucked up.
Yeah,
right?
He's the one that's just fucked up.
Well, he has a super concussion now. So concussion-y that he died.
Yeah, big gunshot blow to the head, and he's done.
Yes. And then she's like, just move the body and shut the door.
Like, okay, I'm not just covered in my best friend's guts or anything.
We do that. The bear ends up being, I guess it's on the roof for like a few seconds.
Yes, it's on the roof.
And then we get one last jump scare of the arm coming through the window, and they cut away as it's happening, but I guess he like claws his face off.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I fucking love that shit. I loved the fake out to it's gonna come down the chimney, and then boom, right at the door. It was so good. Classic.
I love how when that happened, both of us just went back to Gremlins, and they were like, "Dead father in the chimney."
Immediately.
Anytime I see a chimney, I'm like, listen, that was the day she learned Santa Claus wasn't real. It happened in these chimneys.
Oh, God. That movie has such a lasting impression on us. I'm so surprised.
I think, here's the thing. A lot of the movies that were kind of when we watched them or bad when we watched them end up having their own legacy.
That's very true.
Because look at it. Friday the 13th. How many times has Friday come up in an episode? And not in a good way. We've never brought up Friday in a good way. Hellraiser, we're gonna need borderline therapy to get Hellraiser out of our head. Especially that fourth movie. That one I need a whole like year of therapy just to come to grips with.
I'll need some sort of hypnosis done to me.
Listen, I don't need to live with it. I need to repress it.
Yes.
So do that, please.
The ambulance shows up next, right?
Literally. It's like boom, boom.
Yeah.
Ambulance. And we get, for a brief second, I heard her voice. And I'm like, oh, God, not Aquafina. Not Aquafina.
God. Oh, my God. I immediately thought the same thing.
I was like, no, please. I can't do this.
When she came up on screen, like her voice, I was like, no. IMDb, I was like, no, it can't be. And I was like, oh, thank Christ.
I was like, it's not. Then I saw her face. And I'm like, oh, you're not Aquafina.
Yes.
Thank God. But I was like, okay, well, if Aquafina came here to maybe die, that would have been fine. Because that character, either way, they go inside and death.
Oh, it was great. I know that's terrible to say probably, but this is a horror podcast. It's so bloody and gruesome in here. We have the guy with his head blown off down on blocking the door, so they push him out of the way to get in. The lady ambulance EMT worker goes to the park ranger, and this was really cool. While she's listening to her heartbeat, we get the heartbeat in the soundtrack where the dude is going to check out where all the blood is coming from. And when he opens the door and sees it's a bear, the heartbeat gets louder. And then the park ranger takes the stethoscope and then just whispers bear. That was really cool. Really, really cool.
This was this entire bit right here was where I said it, because I think this is where I felt it the most.
Mm-hmm.
this would have been scary if this was like a Friday or a Halloween, or like this was genuinely a good horror scene. It was just the bear's here, so it's a little ridiculous because of the bear.
Right.
Especially because you see the dead guy and his body is just ripped apart.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have the bear. The one thing I love about the bear in this movie is every time it sees a person, it doesn't go straight on the attack. It like sniffles a little bit. It's like just processing the situation. It looks so sweet. Like every time you see it at the beginning, you're like, it's so cute.
It's
so
but
cute.
it's definitely tweaking out the entire time.
Yes.
Especially when we're at the gazebo with the bear, it's completely tweaked. Like
Oh yeah. At that point, it was at the point of no return at this point.
Yeah.
Either way, the cocaine bear crushes the door on the guy paramedic. And the woman paramedic and our forest ranger get in the car.
Mm-hmm.
And the forest ranger's like, just leave him.
Yeah,
Leave him,
she's
sweetie.
strapped
We gotta
down.
go."
She's strapped down
Strapped
to the
down.
gurney.
Yep.
The lady EMT gets in the ambulance, books it. Then he distracts
It
the
was the
bear
bag.
with the bear. Yeah, the EMT bag. So that was cool.
Because the bear's just like, ooh, bag? Cocaine?
Exactly.
We get in, and we get which is the closest for a long time we're probably going to get to Final Destination.
Mm-hmm.
I watched this, I'm like, I'm pretty sure this could, like, if this has not happened in Final Destination, they're going to do this in a future Final Destination.
Oh, yeah.
The bear jumps into the ambulance because they never shut the doors of the ambulance.
Mm-hmm.
Forest Ranger. Why did I said her name like 40 times.
It's
blanked
gone
on it.
now.
She falls out, strapped onto the gurney.
Road
and
rash.
Face scoots.
Oh, it was bad.
Our guy gets his wrist ripped apart.
That was funny.
And our driver hits a tree and just ejects out of the front window.
Mm-hmm.
And the bear just leaves.
Just walks away. They don't have the cocaine, so I don't need them.
I can't sniff it off of them either. So like, there's no use for these people.
God, but this sequence of events was so good.
This sequence of events was bloody.
I loved it. It was so good.
As this is going on, Carrie is looking for Dee Dee.
Yes.
And there's like this brief little day where you think they see blood, and she's like, it's paint.
How do you know this? I'm a nurse. I'm like, you know what? Fair.
I love how this movie, she's like, I'm a nurse. And I'm like, yeah, that's great. That's great, Carrie. And then at the end of the movie, she appears out of the water. And I'm like literally, I said to you, like, oh, Paige, she's a nurse. The reminder came back to me later on. She is a nurse, and she can save the day. Finally, for the love of God, we're at the gazebo. It took us, like an hour to get to this goddamn gazebo.
Yeah.
The cop is already at the top. Well, the cop got there first.
Yes.
Because I remember you were like, how the fuck is the cop here already? And then somehow he got on the top of the gazebo, which was just basically he climbed a tree and jumped and fucked his hip up?
That's what he said, yeah.
Either way, we get a standoff. And this is probably... This 8 minutes is probably the funniest 8 minutes we've probably seen since The Final Girls. In the sense of just what was going on. We had some interaction. We had some fingers getting shot off.
Yeah, the not so together fingers.
Fingers. I was like, even when I was watching the movie, I was like, okay, well, if I'm reaching for a gun.
Yeah, I was doing the same thing. I was like, okay, how does that happen?
I was like, maybe if he did something like this, or one hand was already kind of down and the bullet.
Or like it ricocheted. I don't know. I thought too much about it.
And then the bear arrives. And falls asleep on Han Solo.
Yes. Just completely just sprawled out, falls asleep on Han Solo.
And this was where it was like, it's tweaked.
Yep.
It is on the come down.
Yes, it's
This thing-
crashing.
it needs more cocaine because it's going to crash. We get a brief little aside of Carrie finding our German, Swedish, Russian, just all the nationalities, dude, from the beginning of the movie. And for a second, I thought they were eating Cookie Crisps. And I was like, was Cookie Crisps around 86? Like, is that?
I think it actually was.
It wouldn't have shocked me because
No.
Cookie Crisp does seem like stale and boring enough that it was like interesting in the 80s. Either way, he's like, I did see DD. I'll take you to the cave. It's like probably it's 90 seconds, it feels like. And they're like, and back to the gazebo. Which I will acknowledge, this doesn't make sense. Because when you see Carrie and that whole scene, it's like 7:30 at night, and then we go back to the gazebo, and it's still like 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
The only thing I can think of is since they're so close to a cliff/mountain that it's blocking a lot of the sun. Because the sun's
That could
already
be it.
setting by the time everyone's going up there. That's the only thing I can think of. But yeah, it's a little weird.
Because this is where I would say like time of day becomes bullshit. Like once the next part of this gazebo interaction happens, it starts to get a little stupid. Either way, the bear smells the cocaine in whose pocket had the cocaine?
Devine. Devine's been carrying the bag.
Oh, right, in the back pocket. It wakes up, it sniffs that cocaine, eats it all.
And everyone's like, what the fuck?
And then for a second, I was like, oh god, this bear wants to fuck Han Solo.
Yeah, I thought so too. I was like, oh shit. I think that's literally what was happening.
Oh,
But,
yeah.
Yeah.
Either way, and then the cop's like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make it snow. And just all the cocaine. And the bear, it's so weird because the bear is terrifying, but the bear's adorable
Oh,
at
yeah.
the same time.
The stash says it's cocaine Christmas.
Yep. And then we throw the bag just away for...
Or one of the bags of cocaine. Because the cop still has it, remember?
Yeah, but doesn't he throw the full bag as well?
No. So Ray Liotta comes out after the bear has gone away, shoots the cop up on the gazebo because he still has the bag. Or he
Yeah.
did have the bag. He still had the bag. Whatever. And he kicks the bag down to the bear. So the bear takes the entire bag of cocaine away.
Oh, you're right. Either way, we had a truce, but Ray Liotta wasn't part of that truce.
No, he was not.
And then we get... this is... Okay, these next like little bits are probably where I think the movie isn't that good.
Yeah, it lulled here for me.
Yeah. Reba McEntire arrives,
Yes.
and you see her, and you're like, oh no, she's an inside informant.
Oh my god, she was betraying him the entire time.
Entire time.
Shocker.
And then the cop dies, but it's like he has like a fading memory of the dog.
Yeah.
That was where it was ridiculous for me.
If a cocaine bear wasn't ridiculous, the dog flashback was.
Listen, here's the thing. The movie starts with the cocaine bear. By the time we get to this scene, the cocaine bear is normalized for me.
Fair. That's a good point.
I'm like, yeah, this bear is on cocaine.
Accepted fact.
Yeah. A man's dying vision is a third person view of him and his like shih tzu he's had for 24 hours. That's weird.
Not even 24 hours.
Because he's like, and I think it's also weird because he's like, I wanted a Labrador, not this fancy dog. And then at the end, he's like, oh, she was so sweet. And then he dies, and I'm like, wow. this character really didn't need to be here.
No.
Everything in this movie could have went off without a hitch without this character existing.
And the only reason he was here was because we're connecting the plane crash in Tennessee to down here. That's
why I believe that's the true event. That's why I believe that plane crash is the only thing that is true about this event.
Oh, absolutely.
I just sent my pen flying across my desk. Well, I forgot the name. Oh, Sid. His name is Sid.
Ray Liotta.
Yeah, Ray Liotta's name is Sid. And Sid's like, listen, we're all going to die because I had so much money for this cocaine. We need the cocaine. Or at least enough cocaine to get our money back. If not, you're going to die and your child's going to die. Also, your child that, like, we've met once and is a little shithead, he's back in, like, Missouri.
By
He's,
himself.
like, watching TV. Well, after this happens, we get... This is probably the... I love how we were having such a good time, and now I'm like, and this is weird, and this is dumb, and this doesn't make sense. That's, like, all I feel right now. Because then we get to the cave, and it's so fucking stupid. Because it's like, how did we get to the cave this quickly? It was like, I can tell we were running out of time. Because this last, like, 15 minutes goes quick.
Yeah.
They're like, we're going to go in this cave. And the other guy's like, don't go in the cave. And then Carrie's like, I'm going to go in the cave. And he's like, okay. And then he's like, but what about me? And then he's like, I'm going to stay outside. Like, that's literally a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And then he dies off camera.
Yes. The bear kills him, right? Completely
Yeah.
mauled him to death. We find out that there's 2 cubs absolutely...
And they're so cute.
Yeah, absolutely just ripping apart bags of cocaine. So the cubs are addicted to cocaine, just like their mother.
They are, but I like how Dee Dee's like, it's fine, they're harmless.
Yeah.
they just like the vibes it gives.
Just keep cool, man. Keep cool.
Listen, they don't get violent with the cocaine, but they are addicted. So if you have any on you, leave it at the door, because they will come after you. These things are like fucking foxes at a fox park. If you have something in your pocket or on your face, they will steal it. Have fun getting it back. And she was right, because the bears literally, they want the cocaine, they want to play. That's it.
That's all they care about.
Coke and play.
What more could you want in life?
As this goes on, Ray Liotta, Sid, everyone else gets to the cave, which you're like, okay, if this is the cave, then this has to be the final act. Reba's like, I'm leaving. After we get a very unwarranted flashback that was like probably 2.5 minutes ago. You could have just did a cutaway, because this movie did a lot of cutaways. But no, it's like unnecessary flashback that really kills the vibes.
Yeah, we should have just seen them like find the guy's dead body, the hiker's dead body, and then go into the cave. We could have just saw that.
Yeah, especially because he's literally dead outside the cave, and they were just entering the cave when we saw them. That could have been one scene.
Yeah. So everyone's there. What is it? Carrie, Russell, the kids, and the cubs are out on the waterfall's edge trying to get away. Ray Liotta chases, like, not really chases, but goes outside to find more cocaine, which he does. It's just, this is all stupid.
Yeah. I do love that in those last 5 minutes, they had so many bags of, like, the rainbow duffel bags of cocaine just littered around different shots.
Yeah, it was really cool. Like, oh, there it is.
And we get, like I said, the cubs, they're not going to attack you, but they want the cocaine.
That's it. And
if you have it...
I think, was it Carrie said, just give them the cocaine and they'll leave you alone? Or somebody says that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, Ray Liotta's like, there's like a duffel bag of cocaine hanging very precariously on this branch. And then the bears who are I do like the one thing Carrie's like, stay away from the cubs as they're like fighting on the ledge. Well, they smell the cocaine. Like I said, they're little foxes. They're little devious little foxes. Cocaine makes them very mischievous. And they go to Ray Liotta's Sid character, and it's like, give us your cocaine. And one of them's like, just give them a bag. Like, you don't have to give them the entire thing. Just give them a bag. They can probably work with that.
And then just the cherry on top that Sid's a terrible character, as in, like, he's bad, is that he hurts the cubs. And everyone's like, oh, come on, man.
And then eventually he like puts I think that's like a rifle. It was a rifle.
Yeah.
I'm guessing. And then Carrie Russell catches it and she's like, reload scene. I'm like, oh my God, so badass. This is so unwarranted. Basically, the last 30 minutes of this movie, I could just say is so unwarranted.
It really
didn't
is.
need to happen.
Let's just wrap it up, I guess. The mom bear comes, sees that her cubs are, like, around bad people. Carrie Russell and the kids jump down the waterfall.
And don't break their legs, even though they just jumped down a cliff into the waterfall leg first.
The two drug dealers jump too, but as Devine is gonna jump, he gets grazed in the neck, and then Mom Bear destroys Sid, and the cubs eat his innards.
The thing is, this last like probably like 15 minutes. Because here's the thing, you were never rooting against the bear.
Right.
Like,
No, never.
Bear, you were never rooting against. But it definitely turned into like a Godzilla type of thing at the end where you're kind of like really rooting for it to win now. And it gets shot in its titty. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, oh my God, you shot Cocaine Bear in the titty. Why would you do
And it falls, you think it dies, then one of the bags of cocaine opens.
Listen, the amount of times I've seen tears, kisses, bring someone back to life. It's a snowfall of cocaine.
It's cocaine Christmas, baby.
And it comes back to life. And it guts Sid.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. It hangs him first. He's hanging on the duffel bag's arm, so he's choking, and then just gets ripped apart at the guts where the cubs eat him.
And then he's dead.
Yep.
Whoopee.
That's it.
We appear back at the like lake area, I guess where they are. David is dying, and he's like, he's
having
finished
a
our
moment.
20 questions. Is it Joni? And he's like, yeah. I always knew it was Joni. I just didn't want to say it was. And they're like, can someone help us? And then out of the waters, like the creature from the Black Lagoon, arrives Carrie Russell.
And then Henry is like, she's a nurse.
I'm a nurse. She saves him because she's the nurse.
Exactly.
And then they all leave at the end, and Reba's like, take this dog. I called backup. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, drug dealers leave with the dog. Carrie Russell leaves with her bike and the kids. And they pass the ambulance scene. That was great.
They pass the ambulance scene. I'm just like, listen, guys, she's a nurse. She knows that to not look at this. Nurses know this stuff. And then we get, movie ends. Finn. Oh, no, not quite yet. We have Mama Bear and her cubs playing with each other. Mm-hmm. And it's so cute, so adorable. And then they see a person, and they're like, meat.
We gonna fuck you up.
We've killed enough people to know that if we murder you, there's probably cocaine inside of you.
Like a piñata.
Cocaine piñata. And then we get 2 post-credit scenes, which I will acknowledge for this type of movie. You had to tell me there was post-credit scenes because I was just turning the movie off.
Yeah.
We have Blondie, who is still alive. Shocking that character made it to the end.
Stash, the teenager. With a bag of cocaine.
And he almost accidentally makes cocaine sheep.
Yeah. That would have been rough.
Sheep's already coked out to begin with. We don't need them on cocaine.
God, no.
And he's going to New York. And then you went to the bathroom. Mm-hmm. And I got to watch the second scene. Basically, Han Solo and David get back home, and the dog is eating David's fingers.
That's disgusting, but on brand.
Yeah. And he just goes, well, they weren't going to be able to put them back on anyway.
And that's
I'm like, that is true, because you just drove how long, and like how long did all this final stuff go?
Yeah.
But that was the experience of Cocaine Bear. No amount of talking can really do this movie justice. This is also, I would say, one of the few movies that is easy to watch alone and with people.
Yes.
You can have a fun time regardless.
Yeah. Do you just want to do the roundup here real quick?
Let's do it.
Okay.
You go first.
All right. So, movie roundup right now. Boom. It was really good. It was enjoyable. The soundtrack was good. Plot was pretty straightforward. The deaths were very gruesome and gnarly and icky, which, was really, really good for a horror movie. The CGI was really good. I mean, nothing really terrible about this movie, to be honest. Some lulls here and there. I think I would give this probably a 7.5, 8 out of 10.
You're nicer than me.
I think
God.
I think I'll stick with the 7.5.
This movie, it's a fun time. It is, the best way I can put it is, there is a ceiling in which something like, quality wise, a movie called Cocaine Bear can be. The fact, like, here's the thing, if this movie was mediocre, it's great, because it's, in all honesty, Cocaine Bear sounds like something I'd find on Sci-Fi. It would have been like a 0.5 star out of 10.
Is it in the same vein as Sharknado?
No, because Sharknado's genuinely shitty.
Right, okay.
This movie is ridiculous, but it's also a well-made movie.
Yeah.
Beyond being ridiculous.
That's a good point.
VFX, I was genuinely shocked with a bear that was all VFX and how much they used the bear, that I was only really able to spot one scene it looked weird in. And the only reason it looked weird was because it was interacting with moving mulch in the world. And that was just going to be tough, regardless, because you're moving something in real world and have to move that. But the fact that that's the only scene that I sat there and went, oh, that looks weird. And the rest of the movie, I was like, and the bear just looks like it's part of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Because, Marvel movies don't even have that good of a VFX on it.
Yeah, and it interacting with live human people and not looking like shit was very impressive.
Also, credit to the actors for having, they probably just had to work with a bear head on a stick.
Yeah, or tennis ball or whatever the fuck they use nowadays. But yeah, absolutely.
And the fact that they all did well and they all were still able to, especially the scene with the bear sleeping on top of Han Solo.
Yeah.
So, all of it's fun. All of it's great. The third act really is not good. Unnecessary.
I feel
probably
like
should have been rewritten.
Yeah, I feel like they didn't know how to wrap it up. I think that was the whole point.
And I get it. Wrapping it up is hard. Wrapping up this type of story is very tough. Especially because I could see there was a chance that if this movie did well, they maybe wanted to do a sequel.
Mm-hmm.
So, with all that in mind, I would give this movie around a 6.5.
Okay. That's fair too. Yeah.
But at the same time, a movie called Cocaine Bear was only going to really max out at a 7.
Yeah.
It wasn't going to be like it wasn't going to be like a Scream 6. It wasn't going to be like a Dracula. It wasn't going to be like these movies that were, kind of striving to be 9s and 10s. This movie was like, it's just schlock. We know it's schlock, but you're going to have a fun time with this schlock at the same time.
Yeah. Well-made schlock.
Yeah. It's like Killer Clowns. Killer Clowns has a max out point. It can't get higher than a certain rating because it's not made to be that type of movie.
Right.
It's just made for you and a few friends to just fucking laugh the entire time.
Yeah.
And I can see Cocaine Bear being that, like a cult in 20 years. It's just a cult movie that people just enjoy.
Easily. Absolutely.
But if Halloween Horror Nights wanted to do a house, I would pay the price of admission And also, I think Paige would possibly contemplate just going for the one house. She's like, I will go for the Cocaine Bear. Chucky, fuck off. Cocaine Bear, why not?
Yeah.
But that will do this episode of us fulfilling our promise of finally watching Cocaine Bear on Movie and a Haunt.
We finally did it.
Our arc is finished.
I'm so proud of us.
Now begins the 60 episodes of filler until our next arc.
I feel like what's our next episode? I don't even fucking know.
Our next episode is, oh, you know what it is. I just saw your face light up because you know what it is.
I'm so excited. Go ahead.
Our next episode is Renfield.
No!
It's Evil Dead Rise.
Yes.
Evil Dead Rise.
I am so stoked for this movie. I've been wanting to watch it. Like, I see it on the TV, and I'm like, oh, what if I just watch it? And I haven't. I've been good about it. But yeah, Evil Dead is definitely one of my faves. It's such a good time. So I'm very excited for this movie. So please join us for Evil Dead.
And this movie, unlike Cocaine Bear, will not get replaced with another movie.
No.
Because this movie, we've always said it has to come after Cocaine Bear. Because
Yes.
at least we would have a reward for post-Cocaine Bear.
Yeah.
So this would get pushed back by proxy because Cocaine Bear would get pushed back. But once we got to this, we were like, no. Because we've literally been waiting since the movie came out to actually watch it.
Yes. So thank you for watching or listening, whichever, to us for this movie, Cocaine Bear. We are Movie and a Haunt on YouTube. We are Movie and a Haunt on Spotify. You can always get in contact with us, comment, rate, subscribe, whatever all that shit is. And please join us for Evil Dead Rise next time. All right? And we'll see you guys then. Okay. Bye.
Not a sign of a human